to think outside of the constructs and outside of how you normally think and how you normally process things, and be able to step back and creatively figure out new directions and new avenues to go.
This is the How to Quit Working Show. Jeff Steinman believes entrepreneurship is the only true path to freedom. That's why he created the How to Quit Working Show, where you'll hear stories, insights, and inspiration from lifestyle fanatics who left their soul-sucking 9-to-5 job forever. Now, here's your host, author, entrepreneur, and ultimate lifestyle fanatic, Jeff Steinman.
Hello and welcome to the How to Quit Working Show. We are going to be talking today about something that's really an interesting topic, which I have had a lot of experience with and really enjoyed. Well, I should say I've appreciated the positive things that have come out of understanding this concept. But what I call it is sort of how to create space, how to create room for new things to come in to your life. I think I've talked about this a little bit on the show before, but I want to really delve into it in a little bit more detail today and talk about it with a little bit more context than I've talked about it before. So when you want new things to come into your life, you do have to remove old things in order to create that wonderful space for the new things to come in, and it's really amazing what happens when you do that. Now, before we start talking about that wonderful, amazing, interesting topic, I want to remind you about this really cool thing we have called the How to Quit Working Circle, and that is where you go to get support, encouragement, and be around people just like you who are looking to quit their job and start a business and create an amazing life for themselves. You also get a free video training series, and you get regular special offers from me. All of that stuff is completely free, and it is all over at howtoquitworking.com/circle. I look forward to seeing you in the circle, and let's talk now about creating space for new things to come into your life. I love this topic because, you know, so much of what we do and what we try to do is we try to plan things out. We try to figure out what is the exact right way to do this thing and what is the exact right next step that I need to take. And the reality of it is we just don't know. I mean, the world is not a place that is so simple and easily understood that you're able to simply say, oh, I have to go here and then there and there and there and then there. It's not like a child's maze, right? You know those little mazes that kids do where they trace their way through to get from one end to the other, like in a coloring book or something. It's pretty easy to step back and look at those and say, okay, well, if you just go this way and then turn here and turn there, then go straight and then go left and then right, and then you'll be at the end. Well, that's pretty straightforward, but that's not the way life works. It's just not that simple. And, you know, one of the things that I think that you have to be extremely open to is just not knowing the path to get from where you are to where you want to be. And the only way to figure out what that path is simply to be open to it and to be open to figuring out what the right steps to take on that path are. And there are many, many times in life and on your journey that you just don't know what that next step is. You just don't know what exactly that next thing looks like. What is that next thing that I need to do to get to that next place that I'm trying to go to? And the idea that I want to talk about is to create the space for that next thing to come in. And this is so interesting because I've seen this work in so many different, really cool, different ways in my life. But the core of the concept is that if you want to figure out what that next thing is or that next step on your journey is, you have to create the space for it to come in. And by creating the space, you then allow yourself to be open to these new and different things that will come into your life inevitably. And the first step, I mean, the first thing that you do when you're doing that is that you take something in your life and you get rid of it, either temporarily or permanently or on a trial basis or something. But you have to rid yourself of something, and generally that's like something that you have to rid yourself of something that takes up time and energy. So when you've got something that takes up time and energy, that is time and energy that is not being spent, or that is not available for new things to come in. And when you open that space and time up, you then are able to allow new things to come in. There's possibilities that would not have even seemed realistic to you that will then seem realistic when you have eliminated that other thing that is taking time and resources from your life. And I think that the biggest example, the most obvious example of this that I found was when I was still working full time and trying to figure out how to make a transition into doing something differently. And I eliminated television completely. And it was like, oh, wow, look at all of this new stuff that came in. I never watched a lot of television, but it was certainly a way to say, okay, now there is no longer the option of sitting down and turning that thing on and just sort of taking in whatever is coming in. That option was no longer there. So it then forced me to find more different, interesting, and creative ways to fill that time. And I chose to fill it with things that were that put me in the direction of finally finding the freedom and the wherewithal that I needed to quit my full-time job. And that took the form of a lot of reading, in which I discovered a lot of things and discovered a lot of really different ways of looking at things. But the point is that it's one thing to say, okay, I'm going to change, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try that. But it's another thing to really put your money where your mouth is and say, okay, I'm going to stop doing this thing and I'm going to see how that space gets filled. I'm going to see what happens with that time and effort and energy and maybe money, depending on what it is, that's going towards that thing. I'm going to see what happens with it. And that is when some really, really interesting things happen. And I'll give a personal example of this. I've been talking a lot lately about this new sort of how to start living direction that I want to go. And one of the things that occurred to me this morning as I was sort of preparing to do this show is that, the how to start living thing is really just it's taking how to quit working to a whole new and different level, and it's really it's like I don't even want to say the next level because it's bigger than that. It's this really massive new way of thinking about things and this new way of thinking about life that is so big and so huge in its potential, I believe, that I can't even put words to it. And that's my biggest struggle with it, is I know that how to start living is a very, very big thing, and it is something that very much needs to be discussed and it needs to be introduced into the world. I don't yet have the words for it. I cannot put words together to describe what I really mean when I talk about this new how to start living concept. And I do know that there's only one way to figure out the words, and that is to start trying and to start trying to talk about it as I have on these past several episodes of the show. But to put that into context of the sort of specific example that I'm talking about is the decision that I've made is that I am going to take a break from making new How to Quit Working episodes for a couple of weeks. because I feel like we are on the cusp with how to quit working and how to start living of something really big and revolutionary happening. And there's no question in my mind that there is a really, really big future out there for how to quit working and how to start living. And I don't know exactly what that looks like yet, but I do know that it is something that is very, very big, and I am very, very excited about it. And it is also something that I know that I must do. There are certain things in life that when you encounter them, you know that they are the right thing to do. You know they are the appropriate thing to do, and you know that you must do them. I also know that I'm just not sure where I'm going. I'm not sure how to quit working and how to start living are going. I know that they are going to be around. I know that you are going to hear a lot more about how to start living and probably less about how to quit working, but I don't know what that's going to look like. And what I do know, and what I sort of discovered this morning as I was thinking about how to what to do in this show, is I know that I need to take some time away from doing and creating the How to Quit Working show. I need to take some time to be able to step back and look at it through a bigger lens and not have to think about, well, what's the content going to be for this week's show? And to begin to step back and look at it from a bigger perspective. So what we're going to do is over the next several weeks, and I don't know how long, I'm not committing to a period, but probably something like 2 to 3 weeks. I will not be joining you for new episodes of How to Quit Working, but I will be replaying some of my favorite episodes from the past 6 to 12 months of How to Quit Working. So there will continue to be great content that will be coming out, but it just won't be new shows for a while. And then when that period ends, you will then see something very new and very fun and very different than you have ever seen on the How to Quit Working show before. And do I know what that is? Absolutely not. But what I do know is that I need to create the mental space for myself. I need to create maybe the time freedom and the creative freedom to not be thinking about what am I going to create on this next show, but rather be thinking about what is the future and the direction of How to Quit Working and how to start living. All I know and all I can tell you is that it is really big and it's really exciting and it's really cool, and I'm very, very pumped up about it. But as far as the specifics, that's the piece that I got to figure out. And I need the mental and time and creative space to be able to do that. And that is why we're not going to have a new episode for a while. I will certainly miss doing the show, but I do know that it is only a very temporary thing, and that is only for the betterment and for much bigger and better things to come in the future. So I'd also ask you to think about what is the thing or things that right now you're putting a lot of effort and energy into that you need to pull back and stop putting that energy and effort into, so that you can then have the creative space to think outside of the constructs and outside of how you normally think and how you normally process things, and be able to step back and creatively figure out new directions and new avenues to go down. Now, if you would like more information about how to start living, go over to howtostartliving.com and get more information there. I am really excited about taking this time that I need to regroup and figure out what the best way is to move forward with this really huge thing that I am very, very excited about, which is the future of How to Quit Working and How to Start Living. I look forward to seeing you back here in a couple of weeks, wherever we may be. It may be here in this studio, it may be somewhere different, it may look totally different, I don't know, but I do know that we will be back with some really cool and amazing new stuff in a couple of weeks here on the How to Quit Working show. Meanwhile, don't hesitate to reach out to me if there's anything I can help you with, or if you just want to chat. I am Jeff at howtoquitworking.com. Again, Jeff at howtoquitworking.com. I look forward to seeing you maybe over in the circle, but definitely next time on the new How to Quit Working show.